Welcome everybody to another ThyGap podcast. This is Bogus Noog.
And this is Being Brute.
And at ThyGap, we've always maintained it's not easy. And this time, we're looking at reality.
Reality is not easy because of all the VR devices and the mobile phone influence
And the metaverse.
and the metaverse. It's so confusing. How will you know what's reality? I hope I'm on the same line.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, perfect.
Reality is synonymous with truth, right?
Okay.
And in today's age, in today's world, we are witnessing a constant war on reality, bro.
Okay.
And there are different sides that want to assign their own narrative, their own spin on things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we've always had this, I guess, but ever since the boom of the information age, it has only intensified, and almost every vested interest is keen on imposing their own narrative on people
Yeah.
to get them to believe in something.
Yeah.
We are at an age where with advanced graphics and advanced storytelling techniques, the lines between reality and fiction are getting blurred more and more, even in movies.
Yeah.
We don't seem to come to terms with the fact that if we're watching a movie, we're watching pretty much make believe.
Right.
And it's all fake shit. But we tend to do hero worship where it's not required. We tend to believe the fakery that is being sold to us. We don't see it just as entertainment, which would be the healthy way. But a lot of us seem to go that extra mile in believing, the fiction for reality. And the worst offenders I've seen nowadays is any movie that comes out that says it is based on true events.
Then we know it's not.
It's not. And all these biopics, that they're churning out on a conveyor belt. Pick a character from our history, biopic.
Correct.
And based on true events.
And we've never heard of them.
Yeah. And the only thing that could be true is that person's name, And everything else, they have control over how the rest of the narrative is spun. And I see it in my own house sometimes where whatever they see in a biopic, they seem to take it for granted that, this is exactly how it played out in their life.
Yeah.
And you can imagine the kind of control they're having, which is nobody wants to anyways put all that effort into going to a library or accessing historical records and actually going through what happened in a person's life. But now it is being packaged for me in such a simple, easy to access way. And now they're saying it is based on true story. They're saying it is based on true events. So all of this must be true.
Yeah. So the first thing that hits my head is, when does your reality starts dissipating?
Getting corrupted.
Right. Do you know when that happens?
When
you're lazy.
Yeah.
It's a simple thing. We have become lazy. We have become more and more comfortable with convenience.
Yeah.
And we've become a victim of that.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe movies, maybe news, maybe
big
media,
offender.
Big offender. The whole concept of blowing things out of proportion so that it becomes exciting, though it is not.
Yeah.
The fact that we lost the ability to process mundaneness, monotony, has made us, has basically forced us to approve all that is happening around us.
Yeah.
And that is where my concept of blurred reality comes.
Yeah. And
first, appreciate my contribution to this topic.
I said, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that itself is.
That's more like acknowledgement, but okay.
And the very fact that we also have busy lives to contend with. Our lives, if you see, we are so busy that you would think we are...
Are we really?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. We are so busy that it looks like we could be working towards the cure for cancer or something.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
all these meetings every day,
Yeah.
Unnecessary meetings and unnecessary activities.
Yeah.
And unnecessary rituals and repetition. It looks like we are so busy towards a worthwhile purpose, but no, we're just being busy for the sake of
being busy,
being occupied.
Yeah.
And they've made it so that any seeker of truth, anyone who wants to understand what is really real, has to put so much effort nowadays, has to spare so much time for that.
Hey, but that is fine. Anything worth doing is
Not easy.
easy.
Yeah.
Right? So and you're going behind, I mean, in this context, if you really want to know what's behind the curtains, then obviously you have to go through all that murk. You have to be the Shawshank Redemption guy. Go through like, so many yards of drain, sewage and all that, just to come out clean.
Yeah.
And that's a fantastic line, by the way, where he just went through 150 yards of human shit just to come out clean on the other side. And that's exactly what it is. It's not easy to see through this fog and clear out the fog and get to the real piece of it.
Yeah.
Right?
And like I said, while that's always been the case throughout history, but ever since we had this information boom, the amount of shit that they're piling on now is unreal.
And also, it's the versions.
It is the versions.
My problem is with the versions of things that come out.
Yeah.
Everybody has a voice. Everybody who's got like a reasonable amount of audience is now telling his own version of the story.
Yeah.
And we are not realizing the harm we are doing to ourselves by doing so.
And this is going on to such an extent that nowadays the language is also changing around this. People are talking about, this is my truth.
Yeah.
And this is your truth.
Yeah.
It's like, what is my
Which
truth?
is still fair.
Yeah.
But don't try to make your truth my reality.
Right.
That's my problem.
Yeah.
If it's your truth, great, go live it. Don't try to say that, hey, why are you not living my truth? And like, that's the thing I don't like.
Yeah.
The other part of the whole murkiness that contributes is, I don't know if you agree with it or not, but this whole concept of spirituality made easy.
Right.
Spirituality is not easy.
Nothing worthwhile. Yeah.
Yeah, right. It's a very complex concept, and it needs a certain inclination. It needs a certain aptitude. I'm not saying that I have those, but at least I understand and I respect that you need those to even explore the idea of spirituality.
Right.
And the fact that kind of intricate concepts are being pushed across as, oh, this is not something that you can't do. You can absolutely do it. So, get into it. All these things put together is what I feel is taking us away from the real truth.
Yeah. And just to take an example, in terms of, let's say, a political point that is being discussed. If you want to get to the bottom of it now, like you said, there are versions.
Yeah.
So if I really want to get anywhere close to what the truth could be, I have to first spend time to listen to one version.
Yeah.
Then I have to spend time to listen to the other version.
Yeah.
And now I have to carefully sift between these two to see what are these guys exactly not talking about, what are they not touching, where are they common, where do they differ, and what could be true. Because what really could be true, I'm never getting reported that anyways.
Yeah, because it's not for somebody's advantage.
Yeah.
The real truth is not for somebody's advantage. Truth doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the reality. If I have to decode the nature of truth, then the truth never works for you.
Yeah, and the most annoying thing about truth is it seems to take some amount of joy or some sadistic fun in being buried deep, deep, deep under layers. Like the truth is never in a rush to come out to the surface.
Yeah, it's like police in Hindi movies. This is the police never arrives till somebody fucking dies.
Yeah.
Right? And somebody is shot mortally.
Yeah.
So truth has very close, such a bad comparison, but truth has very close traits to Bollywood police.
It's like, I'm just going to chill here.
Yeah.
You want to find me? You want to come to me?
Yeah.
Fine, go ahead.
Yeah.
Try.
You just have to go through the Amazonian forest, fall in love, lose the love, then get your parents in trouble, defuse a bomb somewhere.
Yeah.
and then, I'll come out.
The truth doesn't make it easy for anyone really,
No.
in any way.
No.
And we looked at the example of political point where if you want to find the truth, all the shit that you have to go through.
And also I want to add another point. You made it sound very simple by saying that I read through one version, then I go and, read through another version.
And they're multiple.
In reality, within version, it's inception.
Yeah.
It's version through version through version.
Right.
At one point, we don't even know what is the actual version.
Yeah.
And that's how it's like a spider web, right? It is a spiraling effect of what we have built in the name of information to everybody, in the name of knowledge.
Yeah.
I think knowledge is another misleading thing.
Yeah.
Whatever knowledge is being offered to you, instantly it's misleading, according to me.
Yeah.
Whatever knowledge you want to seek, is probably fair thing to go
Yeah,
behind.
because you're seeking it out.
Yeah, you're seeking it out. It's not being given to you.
Yeah,
And that's something that I want to put across in the whole spiritual aspect of things,
Mm-hmm.
where all these gurus come and say like, oh, this is what I'm telling you. This is what is the juice of our existence, and
Right.
etc. etc. No, I'm not going to buy that immediately. I want to have my own version, or I want to understand in my own way, in the way I can understand depending on my aptitude and my inclination. I'm not going to buy into what. So be a little critical, right? Being critical is what we want to be if you really want to go to the truth.
Yeah.
And yes, I do understand that it's not easy to go to the truth.
Yeah. And the very first thing that gets delivered to you is pretty much accepted. There's that concept of either you call it laziness or cop out. That applies here as well. Like, who's going to take the trouble of you know, verifying critically if this is true or not?
What's it worth?
It was just delivered to me, so I'll just take it, you know, as what it is. All these people are saying it, so it must be true.
Yeah.
You know, that's the big problem with
This herd mentality, the whole sheep mentality.
Yeah. And this has been throughout history as well. The very concept of what we understand as history is the winner's version.
Yeah.
Right. It is just one version that won above all other versions that could be contradictory. We did a 2-part episode on species with amnesia about all these ancient structures that are so fascinating and mysterious. They continue to be fascinating and mysterious, and nobody cares. You know,
nobody cares. It's such a huge, wide topic, right?
That's why I just touched upon that.
The concept of reality, my questions to reality is, where does it exist? You know?
Right.
That's where I start from. Is it existing around me? Is it existing in my past? Is it existing in the future? Am I walking towards my reality, or I'm living it right now?
Right.
I'm always curious about nature of things, the characteristics of things, right? Like you mentioned, yes, even I believe that reality is just synonymous to that one truth that applies to you.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, how do I start gauging it? You know, in the clutter that we have, how do I gauge it?
Yeah.
How do I find a route to it? Those are all the things that I look at. And in the process, I'm also evaluating, like you know, how you put it across. Truth has a tendency to not come out.
Yeah.
Truth is like very lazy.
Takes its own sweet time.
Its own sweet time. It doesn't owe you anything. So that's another problem. There is no give and take there. It's just, I give it, you can take it, but I'm not going to take anything from you.
Yeah.
You can't change me, is what truth is saying. So all these things, when you put together, I also feel that it is very, very difficult to even comprehend this in the first place. But what we have successfully done is we have just ruined it by adding all these additional layers of personal interest, of Chinese whisper, the media, the influencers. I mean, the whole rise of influencers for me is like, what are they influencing?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Who the fuck is influencing you on Instagram, and how are you taking it how is that changing anything in your life?
Yeah. I mean, what else are they influencing but a sense of reality? You know, that this is the good life.
Yeah.
You know, this is how the popular people behave.
Right. I've not seen one account on social media which is speaking reality, except for the depression, and you know, somebody is born with some disability and we have to send money to them so that they can treat.
Nowadays people are pushing even that for you know, likes and clicks.
And we are diluting our own reality by doing all this. And at some point we have to realize it and stop doing this.
It's gotten so bad, bro, that nowadays there's a new term being thrown around. It's called hyper reality, you know, which is your own understanding of reality and how that's impacting you. Like, for example, if in a social dynamic, you know, you are communicating with other people, and even though nobody explicitly said or reacted to you in a negative way, through your own insecurity or whatever, you presume that, oh, these people must hate me, or, oh, I look like a fool there.
Yeah.
When none of them are thinking that, you know, they are in their own world.
Yeah.
But you, in your own imagination, are creating this reality.
Yeah.
And now the next thing you say or the next thing you do with those people, you might even lash out at them because you're operating on this hyper reality and you're already believing that it's true.
Yeah.
That these people look down on you when that's not even the case.
Yeah.
In the corporate world, it's
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Colleges.
Oh yeah.
The worst part, the thing that hurts me the most is, generally your teens and your early 20s and all is the age of exploration, according to me. That's where you try and fail. That's where you fall down on your face, get smacked. Because that will give you a sense of the truth.
Yeah.
Of, okay, life's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not as cool as I think I am.
Right.
All these things, right? There's a self-check or retrospection kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And when they are pushed to believe, no, you are the one, the whole hyper reality, like, don't listen to other people.
Yeah.
Don't listen to the noise. And I'm like, stop doing that.
Yeah.
You got to give some amount of consideration of the hard way out of it. There's no two ways out of it. You have to go through. You skip that piece, then you're gone for a life.
Yeah.
And that's my concern. My concern of this overexposure to information, over access to, and all kinds of information.
Yeah.
Some information is important for you to thrive for also. Like
exactly.
Going to the library and searching for that one perfect book to learn a piece of history gives you the value for that information.
That's a
you
great
get what I'm saying?
point, because like they say, don't read the comments. Don't read comments. It's like you're not improving or strengthening yourself by ignoring a reality that people are commenting. First of all, it's a positive that people even spend time to comment.
Give you some information.
Give you some reaction.
Yeah.
Then you should be able to take all of that in and then process it in the right way.
Yeah.
Ignoring it is not the answer. You process that in the right way. You should be able to figure out which comment in these bunch of comments am I really going to take it in?
Yeah.
Which of these I'm going to completely ignore?
Yeah.
But completely avoiding them, completely not reading it, then what is that doing for you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And like I said, for me, any true knowledge which is worth is not easy to come by. You got to work for it.
Yeah.
And that is, and because your reality is dependent on the knowledge you have, and knowledge gives you exposure gives you experience, experience gives you, basically the feeling or whatever you say.
Yeah.
So for me, I mean, the question that I always ask is, what does it take to build a real reality?
Yeah. And like in Hindi, there's a popular saying, Sach kadwa hota hai.
Yeah.
Which is the truth is always bitter.
Yeah.
And there's so much wisdom.
We have that in English also.
Yeah.
Which you actually said.
There's so much wisdom.
You could have skipped the whole Hindi part.
I heard the Hindi one first, so I'll give credit there.
Okay.
But there's so much wisdom in that, because the real truth, at least in my personal experience, the moments where I felt like I landed somewhere close to the truth, it was always unpleasant. I never came close to any truth that was completely catering to my likes.
Yeah.
Completely to my liking. There was always that nuance that made me go, it's like, oh no, I have to accept this as well.
Yeah.
And that's because it's real. And that never lends itself well to these algorithms in social media. Like you said, right? I've never seen an account that is communicating reality. That's because I guess the algorithm never pushes it. Because people themselves react negatively to nuance.
Yeah.
People do not like the gray area. They're not comfortable. Black or white. You give me good or evil. You give me very clear definitions. But the minute you say, hang on, this may not all be pleasant for you. There may be an unpleasant thing attached to it because it's the truth. There you have people switching off. And
that's why reality, it's not easy.
It is not easy.
Okay. You are not going anywhere without, following us on our socials. Instagram at _ThyGap. Twitter at ThyGap. And Facebook ThyGap it is. Or why not write email to us, mindthygap at gmail.com. For other people who only use Apple, you can also give us a rating and leave a comment on our ThyGap podcast. Because you know what all doctors say, ThyGap podcast. Subscribe and share.